This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Kicking off hour 2 of Money Moves live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Remember, too, if you miss any of the show so far or any day, you can always download and subscribe to Money Moves in podcast form wherever you get your podcast. Had a great last hour, full breakdown on the ice, and especially about tonight's game with the Golden Knights and Leafs going head-to-head here. Mitch Marner facing his former team for the first time. Nick Alberga had a great breakdown there. We also had Nicole Auerbach, lead college football insider for NBC, on the program with her thoughts on Indiana and Miami. Really thinks that spread might be too short for the Hoosiers, who have been so dominant. Still to come this hour, we're going to have more hockey too. VSiN's own Jonathan Davis is going to join us in studio in 15 minutes. We'll get into the NFL divisional round with Jeff Erickson. But I want to start with you talking some hoops, because we have one game in action right now out there in Berlin, as the Memphis Grizzlies up 52-40 right now on our Magic. We laid 5 with the Magic and really need them to pick things up here.
Well, and they have. They're starting to come back a little bit. And look, when you shoot 56% from three, that's probably going to help you out. I believe the Grizzlies are now 10 of 18 from beyond the arc. But this was, at one point, I believe we got out to 19, and we should be down to 10 here with a made free throw. So Magic are starting to come back here a little bit. And I would expect it. I kept telling you, it's a long game. It's basketball. There's over 100 possessions in some of these contests. I think that we might have a shot. Let's see how they end this second quarter, Orlando, that is. But you get off to a slow start with some guys coming back from injury. Let's see if you can get this done after a hot shooting start for the Memphis Grizzlies. But good game so far. And we'll just see what the second half looks like. We got 4.5 minutes left, we'll say. Second quarter.
I just pulled up the box score to see what's it, and it's all.
What? I was going to say, what is wrong with you?
So I can't read that at all. But I would like, if you can see how many points Desmond Bane has, I would love to know where we're at right now, because I did take the over 19.5 with him as well. Last I checked, he was at, I think, 6. So we need a bit more from number 3 as we come out here. We did get some other other NBA news, that is. Yesterday, Shams Charania reported Nikola Jokic has resumed on-court workouts. He's on schedule to make his return to the lineup by the end of this month, is making great progress. Yeah. And he made the note specifically when he was on the show for ESPN, saying that if he comes back in time, so probably around, we would assume, that January 24th, 25th range, that he will be eligible for postseason awards.
If he plays, yes, if he maintains that playing status. He is the MVP. If he plays enough, if he continues on this pace, he is the most valuable player in the NBA. Although, again, last night, one could argue, what do you mean, John? They're 5-3 now without him in the 8 games that he has missed. 118-109. They beat the Mavericks last night. I told Zach today on the Harvard Handicappers podcast this morning, look, David Adelman deserves a ton of credit for the way that he has coached this team. Market cut down a little bit on him. We talked about this yesterday. 66-1 to 40-1 at MGM. He's down to 50-1 over at DraftKings. But this team is going to be a threat to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he is going to be a threat, Jokic, to take that most valuable player award away from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It is a gamble, but if you can find somewhere that still has him up, I'd take a shot. Okay. I'd take a shot with him.
I like it. He has been, Malika Andrews specifically, when she set up that question to Shams, brought up the point that he's been such this Iron Man. He really doesn't miss time. So if you believe that he comes back from this and isn't going to have a setback, that is a worthwhile play.
Yes, and he's an Iron Man, and he is one that has reportedly fought against any sort of management to an extent when it comes to injury management. So he's not going to be a guy that you might find one back-to-back he might sit, but for the most part, he's not going to do that. So it's not going to be an instance like that where they'll manage his minutes, things. If he's back, and he will play. And then I think that's going to be pretty important. By the way, a quick aside, your boy Desmond Bane does have still 6 points. Boo. And a foul called on Memphis on the inbound. So I believe 52-42, 442. Yeah, I was going to say we have a technical free throw coming up for Orlando.
Okay. We do have a handful of games coming up tonight to get into. 9 games on the card, including our beloved Charlotte Hornets in LA taking on the Lake Show. What do people need to know?
You want to start there? Hornets on the road against the Lakers.
When they are in action, we are starting with the Hornets.
I don't need the attitude. It was just talking. But 5.5 at the open. Opened up 233.5. Got down to as low as 231.5, and then started to get bought back. And so I liked this over, and I took 4.5 with Charlotte. We could go over all of this, all the numbers, for the Charlotte Hornets. When they have their big three on the floor, LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and Con Knippel, they are on par with some of the best teams in the NBA, in the 90th percentile and above in both net rating and offensive rating. And we know where the Los Angeles Lakers are. This is a Lakers team that is one of the worst defensive teams over the last month in the association, down to about 19th or 20th in defensive rating. This should be a game that I'll invoke a similar mindset, probably not the best because they ended up losing this game, but I'll invoke a similar mindset that we talked about when they took on the Indiana Pacers. If you're a big boy team and these numbers are legitimate with your three best players, this is a game that in the very least, when this number was at 5.5, 4.5, maybe even 3.5, that you should be able to hang around in this number and push the Los Angeles Lakers in a game like this tonight. So I think that's there. The total got bet down initially, as I mentioned, Stormy. I think part of that is if you look on the surface, these are two slower paced teams. For the season, in terms of pace, they're both, I think it's 22nd and lower in overall pace. But we'll invoke the big three once again. When you have those three out there for Charlotte, they're very high in terms of frequency of possessions in transition off of live rebounds, overall transition possessions. They will get up and down the floor. And so I think that they're going to be able to get the Lakers to come up and down the floor as well. And can't you just picture a game? Luka Doncic complaining, allowing a 5-on-4 the other way, giving up a free bucket. Hornets doing the same thing. This has the feel of an AAU type game as well. So let's expect an over here and the Hornets to be plucky tonight and hopefully
get another dub for the Charlotte's win-o-meter.
Maybe, just maybe, a sign of bad things though. Zach Cohen today said we should be safe on the win total.
No. He pulled a Stormy.
He did a little bit.
Come on, be better, Zach.
Zach does listen at times and watch at times. So if you're watching, Zach, we are not happy with you.
Set yourself to a higher standard than me, buddy.
But so all that blathering, I like the Hornets and I like the over here.
Since I started somewhere you did not want to start, what is another game that you have a deep interest in tonight?
I mean, this is a really good card today. So I have a lot of interest in all of these. Let's go with Detroit and Phoenix. This has moved quite a bit, at least in terms of the pricing. The number has not moved. I bet Grayson Allen over 2.5 3-pointers today. That was about minus 115 this morning. Some spots are upwards of minus 150 now on the over for Allen. I think you're priced out a little bit here. Booker, questionable. O'Neal got upgraded to available, so that's good for Phoenix in this spot. But Grayson Allen, since he's come back, has been just firing away. He took quite a few. I think it was 19 shot attempts overall, 14 from beyond the arc last time, somewhere in that range. He's going to put them up. To ask him to go over 2.5 at a game like this against Detroit, I think is pretty fair, considering what he has, especially if Booker's not going to be out there. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. But player prop in this instance, and a very interesting game as the Pistons, of course, trying to maintain their spot at the top of the Eastern Conference. And the Suns, we just talked about the Lakers, a team that not many of us expected to do really anything, in contention to win the Pacific Division and be a top six seed in the Western Conference. So this is pretty big. Would lean a little bit toward Phoenix. Again, you'd want to see what the injury report looks like. That seems like a big number for a good team. But either way, Grayson Allen over 2.5 made threes was the bet for me here.
How about the Spurs in a bounce back spot here against a Bucks team that obviously loses a game that they shouldn't have in terrible fashion against the Minnesota Timberwolves?
I think this is so when we were talking about this today, Zach was like, game of the night. And it was, of course, Oklahoma City and Houston. And I joked, I think this is the game of the night.
Okay.
You hit it on the head. Narratively, I am fascinated by this. Every bit of this game is fascinating to me. First off, I will just say right off the bat, I think the number's too high. I think 8 or 7.5 is too high. Giannis Antetokounmpo on the floor for this team. They are statistically one of the best teams in the NBA. There's no question about that. The Giannis minutes have been very, very good because he's a very good player. Having said that, you mentioned it. They go and they play the Minnesota Timberwolves without Anthony Edwards, without Rudy Gobert. They don't lose. They get smoked, absolutely smoked. And then after that game, as we had talked about yesterday, you have Doc Rivers making excuses about the scheduling spot, and then Giannis saying in the locker room afterwards, dead legs, no, we just got beat. And then I don't know if you saw this. Actually, I didn't bring this up yesterday because I thought it was fake. Did you see the video of Giannis during the game? No. They're getting blown out. He dunks the ball. The crowd's booing. He starts booing back at the crowd.
No, I didn't see that.
It's all just falling apart right now for this Bucks team. But having said that, I just think the number's too high. I'm not brave enough to do it, given all of the narrative stuff we know around this team. And we should note, too, there he goes. He was booing the team.
Double thumbs down.
Yep. And then the other part of this, too, we should note, the Spurs have played a lot of basketball. Like, this is their 6th game in, I believe, about 10 days. Quite a couple of back-to-backs late in there as well. I feel like this is just a little much, but the Bucs are in a bad spot situationally, and I just don't know where they're at. By the way, our Magic have cut this down to 5 points out there in Berlin.
Let's go. Don't call it a comeback. That you mentioned, though, the other side of that game with San Antonio, Oklahoma City finally gets the proverbial monkey off their back after finally beating the Spurs and covering the other day. They're in Houston against the Rockets, and they've been bet out a bit here to 4.5-point road favorites.
Yeah, I got priced out of this because I like this game under the total. The open was 225. We're down to some spots 221.5. Injury report, it looks relatively clean for both teams. The only big number or big name here is going to be Lou Dort, who's questionable, and Isaiah Hartenstein's still out. So this is an interesting matchup, I think, because these are two strengths against one another where one team has the advantage. What I mean by that is the front court's a little small for Oklahoma City with the absence of Hartenstein. Jalen Williams is fine. We know Chet Holmgren's kind of spindly and lanky and light. And then on the flip side, this is not like the best ball handling and offensive backcourt in terms of shot creation. And so now you get this advantage for Oklahoma City's backcourt, especially if Lou Dort's going to play. I figure this could be a pretty low-scoring game. I also think if we get up to like that 5.5 range, I'll play Houston a little bit later tonight if it gets there. I do think at home in this spot, they've been much better at home. Second in net rating, second in offense where they play at home. They've been pretty poor on the road, so they're back after that. I think this is a better spot for them. Come in, slow-paced game, kill them on the glass, and be a little live, but I want a little bit more on that number, so we'll sit back and wait and see if we can get that.
And as we talk about all these lines on the move, remember, before the line moves, the sharp play is already there. January isn't about volume. It's about precision this time of year. The NFL playoffs, we see limits rise, mistakes shrink, and timing's going to matter more than ever. You're not going to outsmart billion-dollar sportsbooks or full-time sharps on your own, but with the sharp plays, you don't have to. They're powered by advanced AI, connected to insider sources, and locked in on all things NFL, postseason, and beyond. The sharp plays helps identify where the sharp money hits before the number disappears. Sharpplays.com, trusted by the pros, monitored by the books. Stay at the head of the line this postseason at sharpplays.com. We'll be right back talking hockey. Jonathan Davis joins us next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, we got a 10-game card in the National Hockey League coming up today as we welcome you back to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you as we welcome our VSiN hockey betting analyst live in studio with us, Jonathan Davis. I almost called you Jonathan Davis for a second. I don't know if you heard my pause.
I did.
JD, welcome back. How are you?
Nice to be back. Yeah, it's good. I had to be back for the game tonight in Vegas. I mean, Mitch Marner against his old team. It'll be different when he goes to Toronto in 8 days, but this still should be a lot of fun. And it's Nick Waugh's return. I mean, that gets undersold from a hockey standpoint.
What's going to be different?
What's going to be different
when he goes back? What's the difference?
Well, it's going to be a circus. I mean, now the thing is that Vegas is on a back-to-back. I think so, which really stinks the way they scheduled that. Mm-hmm. Or that it's on a Friday night and not a Saturday.
Beat LA last night?
Yeah, so I had Vegas money line and I was sweating it out.
It was never in doubt.
I was just, sure, okay. That was a miserable experience. I did want to shout you out too because I quoted some of the text that you were sending me on that Buffalo's potential over, and we got there last night. So thank you for helping us with that on the show as well.
My pleasure. Hey, and every cash is a good cash, right?
I know we'll get to that game in a moment. Or actually, maybe we can hit that now real quickly before we really deep dive into the Vegas and Toronto element of this. But you do have a play on the Sabres game today.
The Sabres in Montreal. I love Montreal tonight. And the line is, Buffalo's at home. They've won 14-16, yet they've gone. Game was at like minus 115, and it's now up to about 125 for Montreal. The Canadiens are 7-0 off a loss in their last 7 games. They scored 4 more in 6 of those. They've scored 4 more in 5 straight and 10 of 11. You know where I'm going with this. Yeah. We're going Montreal money line.
And give us the goals.
We split the team total. I did like a 3/4 unit play on over 3 because it has gone up. It was minus 115 last night. I think it's about minus 130 and a quarter unit on over 3.5.
That's a great reminder real quickly as well. Up on VSiN.com each and every day, Jonathan has article write-outs of the games that he's interested in. A lot of these different trends and stuff you can find in the written work when you're a pro subscriber. You get access to all of it.
All right, let's talk about a game that I think you've also got some strong trends here. Winnipeg and Minnesota. We've seen a move here toward the Jets. We saw this open about $1.60 in some spots. Now we're down to $1.35. What do we got?
Over. We don't even have to think about it. I mean, these two teams have a history of playing overs lately. The Jets have played 7 straight overs. The Wild have gone over in 8 of 9. I'm not thinking, and I get a total of 5.5. I don't even have to get, I don't even, 6 isn't even a push for me. Give me the over.
So the Jets have been on that brutal stretch. They lose 11 straight. I think it's 15-16. Now they've won a couple games. Are they starting to work out the kinks a little bit? I mean, it's been bad and tough sledding for them for a while now. Yeah,
I mean, look, they snapped their streak against L.A., and L.A. Was a depleted roster. So it was a game that they should have won a lot of other games. But they're playing a little better. The Wild are starting to regress a little. We're starting to see a little slump. So I can understand why there's some buyback on the Jets tonight at this price. I would even lean towards a draw. If you can get a regulation draw on this one, I think it's about plus 300.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way I would approach it. And then in the write-up, there are a lot of props. There are a couple of props, mostly Minnesota, that I like in this game that have great value.
All right, what about a tight one tonight? And we'll get to the one in Vegas, but right before it, Utah will play host to the Dallas Stars. We're looking at a coin flip spot, about minus 115 in favor of Utah here.
Okay, I'm not even sweating this. There's only one play in this game, and that's it. It's Mikhail Sergachev, the defenseman for the Utah Mammoth. He has had at least 2 shots on goal in 18 of the last 19 home games. Done. We're done. I'm not even thinking about it. I don't have to worry about who wins or loses. Don't worry about goals. I need 2 shots from a guy. I mean, this is like, I know Paulie was always playing Chris Fairburn field goal prop.
Kaimi Fairbairn, yeah.
Yeah, this is the same thing. 18 of 19 games. Yeah. He did cash it in a game in Dallas earlier this year. He's cashed it in back-to-back games against Dallas. That's it. That's my best bet tonight.
Has the market adjusted? Because in the Fairbairn comp, now you're laying some prices on the overs.
It's minus 135 tonight. That's nothing for a guy that's been this consistent. I won't play him on the road. Mm-hmm. Home game, give me Sergachev. Okay. Don't want to say it too loud because maybe the books will catch up.
Nobody's listening.
Speaking of Fairbairn, didn't you say that's already early?
For those who had missed it, I think if somebody had tweeted it out, but we brought it up on Pod to the Futures with Mitch. We talked about it yesterday as well. I think Mitch brought it up on Money Moves, but Follow the Money. But over the last 24 hours, Kaimi Fairbairn is the most bet Super Bowl MVP wager over at, I believe, FanDuel was. So wow,
so fun because it was out as far as like 2001.
It was 2001, and he's down to 500. Yeah, here you go. I have it right here. Top 5 most bet players to win Super Bowl MVP over the last 24 hours from FanDuel. Kaimi Fairbairn is now 500 to 1
with Josh Allen, Drake May, Puka Nacua, and Christian McCaffrey.
I don't think that's all of us, but it makes a lot of sense. At least if you're going to take 2001 on it.
To dovetail off of the Mammoth, though, obviously they get a big win over the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-1 the other night. That stopped what was a pretty nice stretch there for Toronto. They've seemed to have kicked it into high gear.
Bad spot for Toronto. I mean, they did the double elevation back-to-back Utah or Colorado, Utah. It's schedule loss.
So now it's kind of like best on best, though, with a Golden Knights team that seems to have hit their stride a little bit, gotten back on track. Toronto playing really, really well. How do you see this game big picture tonight?
Well, I see it entertaining. I mean, you're going to have, again, we talked about it before on the air. I mean, Nick Waugh, former Golden Knight, comes back, video tribute. I'm sure it'll be very emotional. Mitch Marner facing his former team. And look, Vegas is geeked up for this one. They don't want to let down Marner. And I'm sure the Leafs don't want to let down Waugh. So I'm staying away from the side. I would lean, first period overs in Vegas games have been very good. So that could be one way to approach it. Over 6, I think, I would even lean that way, although Toronto's tended to play more under games. For me, look, I can't back away from Mark Stone, who's got goals in 8 of his last 9 games. You can get him at plus 150. Shea Theodore, the Vegas defenseman, he's got 12 assists in 13 games against Toronto, plus 130. Stormy, I mean, this up your alley. You're the plus money honey. So
yes, there we go.
So there's a lot of great, and then from the Toronto side, John Tavares and Max Domi have both enjoyed playing against Vegas. I parlayed them both for a point at plus 245.
Just because that sparked something in my mind. Obviously, I know that Utah is a city now that in which the NHL plays, but has that been something that has gotten these teams? Because in the NBA, that's always the favorite second leg of a back-to-back, the Denver-Utah swing. Is that one that's been pretty profitable?
It has. I mean, whether, there have been a number of teams. Like, I look at Florida. Florida did Utah, Colorado.
Right.
Oh, my God. They lost 6-2. Like, the game was, that was a layup for Colorado in that one there. And then, the next time they played, Florida, it had a scheduling favor because the Avs were on a back-to-back, not the same type, but we're on a back-to-back, and Florida beat them 2-1. Yeah, if you're going to, those double elevation games are brutal, or just even back-to-back into one of those cities is tough.
Is anything going to slow down the Avs or Nathan MacKinnon specifically?
Just Nathan MacKinnon, and he only moves at one speed, and that's warp speed, and so no, I mean, look, they're gonna struggle. I mean, look, it's good for them if they lose because they've got to deal with adversity. Like you need it. Maybe the Olympic break is what slows them down and it takes them time to get around.
Well, and we had Nick Alberga on the program a little bit earlier, and he was saying that, I mean, obviously, like, nobody wants to bet on the President's Trophy winner to win it all when all is said and done, and that they would be a team that he would maybe think to fade in the second half of the season when they do come back to the break. Is that kind of an angle that you would subscribe to as well, then, it sounds like? I
mean, I would try to target, I would see what kind of numbers you can get on teams playing Colorado after the break and see if that's something that I would take a shot. I definitely, I would agree with that.
Are there any teams that you would be targeting, like whether it is to fade coming out of the break or to bet on coming out of it? Or are you going to use that time kind of during the Olympic break to reset and see where teams are at?
I like Tampa. Yeah. I mean, I think the Lightning, and I've got John Cooper at 10-1 for Coach of the Year. I think he's maybe at about plus 650 now or something, maybe.
I'll pull up that market.
But I think because I think Tampa's going to make deals to get better.
6-1 at DraftKings right now.
So I just think that they're a team that's going to make some moves. So I like Tampa. Out west, I don't trust Minnesota. They need to get themselves another center. That's a big thing. They're weak down there, and their goaltending is a little inconsistent. But Vegas could be, and Edmonton. Like, watch out for Edmonton because Edmonton's got a lot of home games in the second half. They got killed on the road early on. They're getting healthy. And if their goaltending can stay healthy, then they'll have a shot.
We've seen the fraudulence of the Anaheim Ducks appear. What about the Detroit Red Wings? The Red Wings
coming in hot, devastating.
Well, the Red Wings, so we talked about this yesterday, Stormy. They were plus 240 to miss the playoffs. Yeah. They lose to the Bruins. They are now plus 175 to miss the playoffs. That's not a good goal differential. In our last minute here, do you think that they're a team that would fade out of the playoff picture entirely?
I wouldn't fade them out of the playoff picture, but I wouldn't. To me, I don't think they're deep enough. John Gibson's played really well. He was 8-0 in December. He's pretty much kept it going. I think they get in the playoffs, but I don't think that they're not a cup contender in my mind. Mm-hmm. But I think they're still they were on a 96-point pace last year when after Todd McClellan took over from the team. Mm-hmm.
Really tough remaining schedule for them, I will say.
Yes.
When you look at the strength of schedule metrics. In the Olympics, is it Team USA versus Team Canada, and that's all? Does anyone else have a chance?
Oh, God, no. I mean, look, watch it. Like, Sweden's always the Swedes and the Finns are, they played Canada and the U.S. tough at the Four Nations. So it's not a layup by any stretch. One other thing, I still say Macklin Celebrini for Hart Trophy, the MVP. And because if they make the playoffs, he's in, and their coach, Ryan Rosofsky. If you're going to bet Celebrini, bet their coach.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Thursday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. The divisional round is upon us in the National Football League. Very excited to have our good buddy Jeff Erickson with us on the Progressive Guest Line like he does every Thursday to help us break down all the great prop betting angles on the weekend. RotoWire senior editor, host of RotoWire's Fantasy Sports Today here on Sirius XM Channel 87. You can follow him on X at Jeff_Erickson as well. And I was excited when we hopped on the line, Jeff, when you're like, I got to play in every single game. So let's get into it. Should be a fun slate of games this weekend, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why not have something going on there? There's only 4 games. Let's get something going on in every one of these. My only problem is I have too many overs. I think there's more ways for a prop to fail than there is for it to succeed. But it's psychologically, it's always tough to bet the under because it's never over. Until the very end of the game. So that, it kind of goes both ways as far as that goes.
You know what? I'm happy with this because I like betting on human achievement. So I'm good with it. Let's get into it, starting with the first game of the weekend coming up on Saturday. Bills at Broncos. Denver laying 1.5 right now, although we have seen this go back and forth each way. Total 45.5. And Brandon Cooks had himself a day in the wild card round. You think he can do it again?
The Bills have 3 healthy receivers, and that's if Curtis Samuel plays, then 4. So, yeah, I think he can get over the 28.5 yards, receiving yards prop there. All it takes is really one play for him to hit that, because he's going to have a lot of downfield patterns anyhow. Now, if Patrick Surtain travels with him, then that could blow up in my face. But I don't think he'll travel with him because I think they're going to force the ball to Shakir so much that Surtain's going to want to focus some of his attention there. So I think all it takes is for Cooks is to hit that one big play. I think they find a way to scheme that up. We'll go one big play for Brandon Cooks.
All right, what about the Denver Broncos side and how they're going to operate on offense and what that means for some of their running backs like R.J. Harvey?
I think you absolutely have to run the ball a ton against Buffalo. I think Jacksonville's big mistake last week was going away from those outside runs that were working so well. Bashal Tutin was killing them. I don't think that Harvey is a special back, but I think he'll get enough work that'll get over that 55.5 rushing yards prop there. So I like that quite a bit. I think that's the way Denver's got to be. You can't turn this into Bo Nix versus Josh Allen. You just can't. You got to get the running game going.
Oh, trust me. We were screaming at the television a lot during that game that Tootin should have continued.
What was I yelling?
Rootin', scootin', tootin'.
That's right. Give it a toot. That's what I kept saying over and over again. He had a whole drive that he brought them right downfield in 2 seconds, and then we never saw him again.
I don't remember what the yards per carry were at that one point that we were looking at it, but it was like 8.5 yards per carry they were averaging, and they just were not going. Like, what are we doing? Anything else?
They'll see it coming. We got to go away from it.
Oh, right. Oh yeah. They'll know. They'll know. What? Anything else that you were looking at in this game before we move on?
James Cook is the highest rush prop out there. I'm staying away from that one there. Denver has been really stingy against the run lately, although lately is doing a lot of work because they had that game against the Chargers that just didn't matter at all. So it's hard to kind of bake that one in, but it's kind of a stay away for me.
All right, let's talk about what ultimately should be an ugly game for Stormy's San Francisco 49ers. Let's start with the Seahawks side. A.J. Barner, what are we doing?
I like the A.J. Barner anytime touchdown. Maybe Fred Warner plays in this game, and that changes things up a little bit. But the Niners have struggled against tight ends. We saw Dallas Goedert score twice last week. At one point, you get plus 240 over at Hard Rock. Now it's down to plus 200, which is still a pretty decent price. DraftKings has it at 160, FanDuel 170. So shop around, as always, with these player props, especially something like Fool's Gold, like Anytime TD that I can't help myself on. It's like flypaper. I still go after that every once in a while with tight ends, especially.
Jeff Erickson.
Burner. Get it?
Smooth. RotoWire joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. If it was a barn burner, then it would be a good game, unlike what you set that game up to be. Just catching strays over here, Jeff, minding my own business. Meanwhile, there is something positive for my 49ers that you want to bet on. And I think it's interesting because we've seen in the games that George Kittle hasn't been available, and obviously he's done now for the year with the Achilles, that Jake Tonjes has elevated. I even think back to that week 1 game where he scores the gotta-have-it touchdown at the end. Do we see more Jake Tonjes love in this game without Kittle?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I think you guys have AM PM in Vegas too. I can't help when I see Tonjes' name, I think of the AM PM commercials with Tongus. But anyways, he averages 4 catches for 48 yards whenever Kittle's out. The catch prop is at 3.5. So I'm kind of staying away from that. But 34.5 receiving yards, that's the one I want to try to attack. 35.5 in some places as well. Let's go over 35.5 receiving yards with Jake Tongus.
When I used to work local radio and I was a producer, I'd have to pull stuff, audio, video, stuff like that. And AM PM that year was doing a very, very strong ad campaign in between every single video. It was Tungus or Tongus or whatever it was, trying to get people.
It's like that creepy carrot, big
made out of all the snacks or whatever it was. Yeah. All right, as we look at this, let's go to the New England Patriots. So what are your expectations for New England? Pretty interesting game here. Obviously taking on the Houston Texans, who are a very solid defensive group. Again, much like last week, their biggest test since they took on Cleveland. Well, they did relatively well against the Chargers. What are we expecting from Drake May here?
This is going to be a tough one. Make struggled early on. I thought Will Campbell struggled a lot early on, too. I think long developing plays are going to be right out. I don't think you can go after the deep balls here. So I'm going to go the under longest completion for Drake May. It's at 33.5 right now. Last week was 34.5, so not much difference. I'm going under this week on this one here. Robert Mays from The Athletic tweeted out an interesting stat. On dropbacks that Houston hasn't allowed a positive EPA on average dropback per passer since week 2. They're just deadly. And I think this is a tough spot here for that. So I think this is an angle you can attack that. The passing yards, this opened at 233.5. It's down to 219.5 now. So that one, I don't think the value is there, but I think the longest completion, we can still attack that.
On the Texans side of this thing, offensively, Nico Collins remains in concussion protocol ahead of this game with the Patriots. He's a, quote, long shot to play. How does that then affect the way you're looking at some props for the Texans offense or some of those wide receivers?
I don't think we see a full reprise of Monday night when Christian Kirk had 2/3 of his season-long yardage, but over 3.5 receptions seems attainable to me. I know you'll probably see more Jaden Higgins. You'll probably see more Jalen Noel, more Xavier Hutchinson, but I still think over 3.5 receptions is probably a pretty safe way to attack this here for the Texans. This is the hardest game of the 4 for me to try to protect on a side, project on a total. I think it's really well priced. So this is definitely one where I'm looking at player props instead.
All right, what about the Los Angeles Rams? This one looks like it's going to be a good one between them and Chicago. We did see that Jordan Love absolutely demolished the Chicago Bears, almost kind of the flip side of the Jags, where you were kind of waiting for Green Bay to just keep going at them, and they didn't. Do we expect that Stafford could have a similar type of day? What do you think they ask of him in a cold game like this?
Yeah, I think everyone wants to fade Stafford because he's never played any game where it's been below 20 degrees, but I think that's a mistake. In fact, I'll just attack this from an attempt standpoint. I think they're going to try to throw the ball a ton against the Bears because you can. So I think over 34.5 attempts is the way I'm going to go with this one here. 2 of the faster paced teams still remaining in the playoffs. Unlike, say, the Buffalo-Jacksonville game last week or the Chargers-New England game, pace will probably be in favor. We saw a lot of scoring going back up and forth with both of those Saturday games last week. They get the extra day of rest. They should have a lot of things schemed up. I think I like that a lot there. I think you're going to see Stafford fill out the air with a lot of passes.
The base of success for Chicago offensively this year has certainly been on the ground with what they've been able to do in the run game. Do you think that can continue against this Rams defense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it started with how they built their team in the offseason by building up that interior offensive line. Ben Johnson's always had a good running game developed there. I think DeAndre Swift is a fun play this week. The Rams actually kind of struggle a little bit against the run as well. Obviously, the Bijan game's in everyone's mind, but there's been other instances of this as well. So DeAndre Swift over 57.5 rushing yards is a way to attack this.
Anything else you like this weekend?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we're looking at all of the props, but any sides or totals you did end up firing on for the weekend?
Yeah, I like the under in the Buffalo Denver game there. I think it was still 46.5 last I checked. I think both defenses are strong enough that this should be a lower scoring game. Kind of view this as it's tough on the side. Like you said, it's vacillated back and forth. I think this is like a 24-20 type of game. So I like the under in this one there.
Good deal. Jeff, appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this and enjoy divisional round weekend. It's going to be fun.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Jeff Erickson, everybody, again, does a great job with RotoWire's Fantasy Sports Today, SiriusXM Channel 87. Also, RotoWire Senior Editor over there. You can check out all of the work each and every day. Have you fired on anything else this weekend yet?
I got the teaser, got the Broncos, and no, that's about it so far. I'm going to sit back and wait and see. I'm conflicted on a couple of these. I mean, obviously, we're riding Bears all the way through, hopefully, but...
Hopefully.
And it's the last game of the weekend, dude. Like, I have to wait all the way until Sunday. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, at least I still the 49ers game isn't the first game of the day, but at least I can get it out of the way Saturday and see how it goes. Which, by the way, as you're watching all of these games, you've got to stay full as well while you're doing it. And
Correct.
Omaha Steaks is the place to be, the official sponsor of tailgating right now. When you spend $129 at omahasteaks.com/VSiN, you get 2 pounds of free fully cooked chicken wings plus 50% off site-wide. Don't wait. Spend $129. It's so easy to do with all the great stuff they have over there at Omaha Steaks. You get 2 pounds of wings for free. Save 50% off site-wide on steaks and more. omahasteaks.com/VSIN. That's omahasteaks.com/VSiN. Minimum purchase required. See site for details. We're wrapping things up with our best bets coming up after this. And don't look now, but we got a 2-point game in Berlin.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Tie game out there in Berlin between the Magic and Grizz, going head-to-head as we welcome you back here to Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, Channel 158. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you, wrapping up this Thursday edition of the program. And we saw the Magic take their first lead a couple minutes ago since it was 7-6 in the opening minutes of play, and they just pulled ahead once again here. So you told me to have a cooler head, chill out a little bit, see if they could come back, and so far they have rallied. We still need a little bit more, though, as people that laid 5 with the Magic.
Yeah, look, basketball's a stupid sport. I will say that about the sport that I enjoy as well, and no lead is safe. So just sit back, relax, see what happens. And sure enough, Magic up on top, 74-73 with another... This is Paolo Banchero.
Banchero.
There you go. A Paolo Banchero free throw coming right now.
That's how I said it in the commercial break. He's like, what accent is that? I was like, I don't really know, but I feel like that's the way it should be said.
Oh, look out. John Morant's in a bad mood. What's going to happen? Is he going to start fighting his teammates? Who knows? He's so annoying, dude.
He's your favorite player in the league, I think.
It's just because I don't know why it bothers me so much, but he's just, I know what it is. It bothers me when people do these sort of things where they clearly mess up, but it's everybody else's fault. There's no accountability whatsoever with some of your actions. And that's when Ja, to a T, the entirety of his career, since he's had these suspensions, since all of these issues, it's just been no accountability. And that's what's bothered me to this point.
Yeah, and we're showing the clip there again from earlier at practice, getting into it with a teammate, just because that's just like part of what he is now, I feel like. And for a guy who doesn't want to be there anymore, wants to play somewhere else, if you're an opposing team in the trade market trying to assess and add to your franchise, is that the type of guy you really want to bring in?
Yeah.
Does the talent outweigh the baggage that he carries with him?
I mean, that's the part, too, is we get a run out and a foul. They're going to strip that. Okay, so that's going to be, I don't know what that is. So 78-73, Orlando up on top, 5:52 left to go. No, you're right. I mean, it's all just not worth it at this point because his production has dipped. He's not the same explosive player. He's not shooting the same at the rim. He's shooting more jump shots. He's not a good defender. He is not worth this headache, and he has yet to really say or show that he's willing to change, and that's part of what the thing that kind of bothers you here. So, whatever. We'll see. He goes to Miami and then gets all pissy about something else and then maybe gets somebody fired. Who knows? But kind of done with the whole John Morant thing.
Well, let's push this ahead to tonight. Obviously, we're going to keep tabs on this up until the top of the hour.
Hey, yo.
But I know there are a handful of games that you do have action on tonight. So you want to dive into it? Where you want to start?
So there's been a couple. Let's hit really quickly to one we did not get to. Boston Celtics on the road against the Miami Heat. Miami opens up as about like a 2.5 dog, and we're sitting around like 2.5 right now. Total 234.5. I took a little bit of Miami here +2. It's up to 2.5. Like, worst of the number, but I do think that there's a couple of things here with Boston, and I had mentioned this with Zach again today on Harvard Handicappers, which is first off, the Celtics have played very well so far, but they're on this little slump right now. And while on the surface, they've been a great team, one of the things that does stick out about Boston, as we know, is while the offense has been incredible, their defense has been really middle of the pack, and their offense can be hit or miss because of their reliance on three-point shooting. The last two games, they've scored just about a point per possession, but their defense, 15th in non-garbage time defensive efficiency. They're 17th in turnovers. They're bad in terms of defensive rebounding, floating around 22nd in the NBA. And so I trust Miami defensively. Stormy, they played a really high tempo, so the overall scoring numbers probably don't look great for anybody. I called Miami the ultimate old head team where old folks are like, watch them and go, this team doesn't play defense. When the reality is they're actually one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. There's just so many possessions in their games. The entirety of the point totals get there. But I think at home against Boston, the ability to defend, it's clean injury report for Miami as well. I think they can pull this off in a very clear coin flip. I think these two teams are much closer to each other. So went with Miami here catching 2.
And then not a side, but you're rolling with a prop in this Suns-Pistons game.
Yep.
Just to set the table here real quickly, Phoenix getting 7.5 on the road in Detroit, total 218.5.
Yeah, this can roll through that to lead into the best bet. So Grayson Allen over 2.5 3-pointers. It was minus 115 when I played this. Talked about it this morning. I think it's up to. I know I was looking at MGM earlier, like minus 150. That's probably outpriced here, but Allen's done a really good job since he's come back from injury. He just pulls the trigger on almost everything. I think you can also look at points too. He's been really good at attacking some of these closeouts. Obviously, he's a deadly 3-point shooter, but he's skilled enough off the bounce that he can actually get there. His point total was 13.5 at last look, so he might be worth looking there too. But I went with 3-pointers over 2.5 3-pointers today at minus 115. Mentioned the Heat plus 2 as well as part of the best bets tonight. Just went through the analysis there. And then our boys, we'll see if they can pull it off tonight. I like the Hornets plus 4.5 and the Hornets and Lakers over 2. I got this at 231.5. Expected some buyback at some point because this got bet down. And sure enough, we're upwards of 234 now. So again, I think they're going to be able to get them into a high-paced game. They like to run with their big 3 out there. Lakers are a bad defensive team. So too are the Hornets. So let's see if we can get a high-scoring affair. And I will say, because I did not get it to our graphics people in time, I did add a bet in the NHL.
Ooh, where are we going?
Red Wings to miss the playoffs at plus 175.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm here for it. By the way, that Lakers-Hornets spread now sitting 2.5.
Oh, is it down 2.5?
233.5. Yeah. So good on you for getting the 4.5. And
there's going to be some buyback.
And I would say you should be happy that I did not also fire on that play because I feel like every time that I bet on the Hornets, I am a loser.
We can get this. We can hope.
Do you think that money line is realistic
for the Hornets?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not going to do it though because I want you to win your bet. I feel like I'm just going to give you the bad juju if I add to it.
It's no bad juju. They're all independent outcomes and actions, Stormy. They're all just molecules floating around in a different space than we are. We have no impact on the things that happen outside of what you do on an everyday basis.
And yet, I get, and our producer Justin just said it in my head, and you say this all the time that it's all a simulation.
You know, if you really think about it, very much so our robot overlords are taking care of us. We're just in a little bit of a husk, and they feed us every single day, and all they need is just our energy.
You should hear some of the things that JVT will say to me, like as we're just walking out, like you do like a have a good day or whatever, and he's like, yeah, but are you really even existing outside of the time with which I see you on a day? I mean, I don't know. It's all.
I was setting up. What did I do to you? I was annoying you yesterday because I did go on quite the tangent about. I think you discovering yourself or some weird story that I was painting a picture of yesterday.
I don't know, but it was weird. And I plugged in my earpieces to try to test audio or just block you out basically. And you just kept going. Even while I was doing the other thing, you just kept speaking. I'm like, I'm not even listening to you anymore. You just kept going.
It was good. By the way, our boys are pulling us. Hopefully they can start to pull away here. The lesser Wagner brother, Mo, he is at the free throw line, I believe. 80-73 Magic up on top, 3:50 left to go in the third.
And so as we get to my best bets, yesterday we did.
That was rude. He's not the lesser brother.
Just the lesser known? Would that be a better way to put it? Lesser known brother, not Franz. Mm-hmm. The Golden Knights came through for us yesterday, and although it was a little bit dicey for too long. Cash the minus 118 money line on the road against the Kings. We'll see what they do on the second half of the back-to-back tonight against Toronto. And they have been the side that's been getting bet out here a little bit, out in the minus 142 range. No action for me on the ice. The only thing I ended up firing on, at least to this point, and I'll probably add throughout the course of the day when we get closer to some of these games. But as of right now, the only bet I placed so that we could have action during this show was the Magic lane 5, which we're in covered territory now. We'll see if they can hang on because we still have a lot of games still left to be played. And Desmond Bane over 19.5 points, which isn't looking good. I think he's still 4-10 from the floor or something like that right now. So we have a ways to go for Desmond Bane. But if he could just hit some of those shots from beyond the arc, that one, it was such an ugly brick. I was very sad. I thought we were going to get it, move me up to 11, get me closer. Nope, not there yet.
Yeah, there's a long offensive rebound in the backcourt that he kind of was just like walking back up. And I was like, bro, you've got 7 seconds.
Pace.
Yeah, you got to get up there. And I think he kind of realized that and had to jack it up there and did not get. But hey, you got plenty of time, as we always keep saying. Another basket here. It is now a double-digit lead. The Magic are all over Memphis right now. They've got nothing on offense. And I think that speaks to what we were talking about They got off to such a hot shooting start, Memphis did, which is why they got themselves into such a big lead.
And on a
since then,
13-0 run now, the last 4 minutes. Sorry, as that graphic pops up on the broadcast.
Yeah, it has been ugly for Memphis offensively. So this has been a good showing for Orlando. We'll see if they can maybe even just blow them out. Let's get this done here.
It all kind of
not going to be good for you if they blow them out, obviously, because then Bane doesn't have to play. So
it all kind of started though when John Morant was getting all sassy over there. That's what really sparked.
So annoying, dude. Dirk on the call,
I love that
too.
You're not bitter.
You can't lose. The Wagner brothers can't lose in Germany with Dirk out there. I mean,
Did you see that video of them pregame just meeting up, dapping it, and like shooting the BS? It was fun.
Yeah. No, I did not. I did not see that. I was focused on the job at hand, Stormathan.
Were you?
Yeah.
That's a first.
It's a good shot. I like that. See, I like when you get mean back. Behind the scenes, you're way meaner. But.
That is not true. You just say things sometimes, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go from here. You know, like you leave me in this spot where I'm just, all right, JVT, sounds good. Fortunately, you don't have to deal with me tomorrow, so that's always exciting.
Yeah, you're off to Miami. Are you on the show tomorrow? You're not.
No, I'm not tomorrow, but I will be back with you on Monday for
she
a
won't be
hit
here, of
before
course.
the national championship.
Why would you expect her to be?
We'll be out there at Hard Rock Stadium. Hoping that because it will be before fans are in the building that I can get a good connection for a video feed for you.
Justin, we're going to set the odds at no to Stormy
Come
minus
on.
120 on Monday.
Some people.
Something will happen. No signal, no internet. Small favorite.
Didn't make a firm pick on the game yet, but
are you allowed to? You're only in the
more
in
that
arena.
everybody's I am allowed to, but the
it.
more everybody keeps talking about Indiana, the more I'm like, maybe they just are a wagon. Okay, we got to step aside. Have fun though. Good luck with your bets, everybody. I'll see you Monday. JVT will be back tomorrow. Follow the money with Mitch and Paul after this.